Welcome to another edition of XFeed. My name is Schiller, baby. We're going to go over some headlines, different things, of course, as per usual. Thanks so much for hanging out. Now, the question of the day, or I guess topic of the stream, is about identity. And one thing that I never really understood, because I understood everything, was when people say, some of the terms, the things you say don't make any sense. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. And then I saw Tom here who was talking about poker and something, and I don't understand what this means, but let me read it. This guy just scummed someone so hard. Button opens last hand before dinner. He shows his hand J2O before folding, and Button mucks. He snap calls floor and ends up getting rewarded the pot. Complete scumbag loser. What in the hell does any of that mean? So now I totally understand whenever we say weird terms and people are like, Shell, what is going on? So the conversation around identity, right? I think you care about how you look online, kind of like how you care, maybe not, but typically care about how you're perceived in person by people. And when somebody says something illy of you, you know, a lot of the times you kind of second question, what the hell exactly does that mean? And so I was going through some of the images that I've used, and obviously we have the root punk right now, but then this is one of the Pixel of the Apes, which is one of the first Futureverse-esque NFTs that are out there. Bored Ape Yacht Club, again, huge ordeal. If you've never seen the mint of Bored Apes, but think that story is kind of neat and you're wanting to see it from like the thoughts in the moment, we actually stream that live. And if you go on the YouTube channel and you just search on my channel, like filtering under like the most popular videos, it's like number 1 or 2 on there. And then we got some of the Fluff World ones. And, you know, for this one, it's like, okay, this is one of the rarest furs I have. I think it's kind of cool. I've profiled it for a bit. And this one, you know, you just feel like a star. And so I think it's cool. Yo, LTNFT.ru, what is going on? How in the halibut are you? And so the point being is you might say, okay, I don't really care about any of those. They don't really represent me. But in a way, once you make friends within the metaverse, and again, a lot of the people that was with me around the same times of minting Bored Apes, I see ones and I recognize it. And I think that we're going to get more and more to that. And people are going to care exponentially more about what they're called, how they look in this whole entire metaverse idea. All right. Now, Pop Punk kind of ripping on Yuga here for a second, but it was also kind of funny. And let's like digress just a little bit. Yuga Labs raised $450 million to charge their holders $85 or $110 full price for a shirt, socks, and a disposable camera. Now, we went over this the other day when they announced Ape Fest, and it is like a little weird to a point, but one thing that the perspectives don't really give is you have to remember there is a lot of people that still originally minted apes, right? Like they were $250 or something way back in the day. And so we have all these perceptions on royalties, and obviously they raised a whole lot of money. But when you go from collection and you see the massive heights of what these secondary markets are selling comparatively to what these companies sold these NFTs at, it's a complete discrepancy. And so, you know, it seems kind of weird, but that's because some people paid upwards of $30,000 to $100,000 for their apes. But again, some people only paid like $250. And so what do you base it off, right? Yo, Atari God, what's going on? Who remembers the SOS airdrop on Christmas Day? LV50 coming through with the history. I remember this. It was crazy. There was also another token called Year that came out. That one was a honeypot. And then there was the Gas DAO. And I actually did an interview with the guy who did Gas DAO. And you guys might not have lived through it, but there was a time when they were just giving out tokens to people that were using Ethereum. And most of them ended up going absolutely nowhere. But at the same time, if you got out of them quick, there was a lot of hype around that time. Skills Games has kind of a very interesting stat line here that I just wanted to highlight real quick of, did you know 62% of PC gamers are spending more this year, with 19% increasing spend by 30%. So people are spending way more. Steam dominates as the top PC game platform. Short video content is the #1 game discovery method. Mobile minigames engage 650 million gamers daily, and China's gaming market projected to hit 55 billion by 2028. So it feels like we're in the right spot. Now, on a general note, it feels like there is a ton of games that are starting to come out, and I really think potentially towards the end of the summer, we have the whole blockchain game, Web3 alpha, narrative really taking off, because we keep saying every year, oh, this year is going to be different. And, high hopes, but it feels like finally 2024, we're at that point. Lupify is saying we are gearing up for our biggest launch yet since we've announced Treeverse. Open alpha in August. It will come with a prize pool with bonus points for partner collections and our own holders. So again, A lot of things turning, the partnerships across the board, potentially airdrops as we had before with like the gas year, et cetera, as we just highlighted with LV. But this time it's something that's actually potentially sustainable and has been building for a while. And so that trust aspect that we kind of just took for granted before and got spurned on isn't necessarily a problem anymore. Kid Arcade highlighting one of the drops here from Veve, saying this is concerning. The odds of landing the secret rare Spider-Man Noir is 0%. That's insane. So apparently these are like $15 in editions of 88. So, I mean, I don't really follow Veve a whole lot here, but I think that it's interesting when you look at the scarcity of these different projects as we look at NBA Top Shot and the way that they kind of flooded the market and the questions of extra utility games, the desire to have something extra and more. Again, Veve's not really necessarily my thing because I'm not I want to go collect something from like other IPs right now unless I'm really into it. And I was on Kid Arcade's stream the other day and it was awesome. But he asked me, he's like, yo, if Veve had Pokemon, would you jump on board? And I was like, probably, but there's not the brands on that, and that's okay. It's a big thing within the space. It's okay if you're not a massive fan of something will definitely come along. Love Schiller streams at work, gonna have to run for a min for dinner. Yo, enjoy din, brother. If you're long blockchain tech, crypto, or want exposure to the space, you only have one strong this is not investment advice, by the way. This is just a perspective on the timeline. One strong investment option is the Coinbase stock. Wall Street still doesn't digest that Coinbase will benefit from any positive development in the space. Meme coins pumping, Bitcoin succeeding, base L2, digital dollar succeeding, other utilities, yada, yada, yada. And I think, we've highlighted this before, and I agree. I mean, for all of this, remember, it's going to be going through these exchanges. There's not like any kind of government setup. We had, what is it? Not the U.S. Navy, but some kind of Justice Department or something partnering with Coinbase. These things all have to go through an exchange of some point. And if Coinbase really is the one that's going to be kind of that monopoly to own everything, at least in the United States, holy guaca freaking moly. Yo, 24-hour grind. Jeez, what's going on? Looking good, Schiller? Just popping in to say hi and thanks for all the content and tips. Yo, good to see you. Hope you're doing all right. Happy Wednesday. Five Guys sells a double cheeseburger for $11.59 and a single cheeseburger for $9.79. That implies their patties are worth $1.80 and a pair of buns are $7.99. Just something I thought about for the first time and thought was kind of stupid. Can't argue with that one. True. Only 3,574 Origin Axies exist. Axie Infinity pumping the OG bags. Love to see it. Origin Axies are the cornerstone of the Axie movement, representing a significant piece of Lunacean history for their owners. Again, we got some big news coming out of Ronin, but going quickly over their website here, their utility. For anybody that doesn't know about Axie Infinity, utility is a measurement of a collectible's usefulness. Axies are more than NFTs. They battle each other in our card battler games, Origins and Classic. Every Axie collectible has a set of cards that determine its performance on the battlefield. The Axie pictured above has no significant scarcity or any striking aesthetics to make it stand out. However, it comes with 2 Nutcracker cards. These cards can be deadly in the Origin arena when played within a rage team. For that reason, collectors may want to acquire this Axie. Again, NFTs with this extra kind of utility. Now, we got the BAYC basketball somewhere behind us, but I guess the Caitlin Clark-Wilson collaboration sold out. Does that mean that my BAYC basketball is suddenly way more popular because limited edition basketballs are back in? Maybe. We got 2 of them. Holy smokes. All right, this is maybe the funniest tweet I've ever made. Thank you very much for coming to the show. House of the Dragon, making eye patch traits great again. If you've not seen House of the Dragon this season, is absolutely phenomenal. And I thought this was a good little chuckle. Maybe we'll see some people out buying some eye patch traits. So this was kind of crazy. EB7 here highlighting that another sale happened with this gold Bored Ape, which if you remember the other day, yesterday we talked about how this just got flipped for 4 CryptoPunks. So immediately, that person that sold the 4 CryptoPunks ended up flipping it. And Steve highlighting that it was a $60,000 gain from the auction sale to this. Now, obviously, there's auction fees and all this other stuff behind it, but kind of weird to think about just how technically it was a $60K flip. Now, Riot Games, some big news. This is just kind of typical Web 2 type deal, but they were working on and has canceled the new platform fighter that was to compete with Smash Melee, according to leader Grift. Now, is this the one that is the League of Legends-based fighter game? Is this a different one where it's like, when they're saying like a platform fighter, it's not, you know, just on like a single base? I don't know, but again, as we're saying, the industry is ripe for disruption. Very interesting to see a huge studio cancel something of that sort. Probably the most useful hack for communicating clearly, especially in professional settings: speak slower. Have I not been going a mile a minute? Let me just change up the tune for a second. Talk a little bit slower. Do you think the delivery is more peaceful? You have a thought. Maybe you want to 2x this show. Maybe you want to like the stream. Maybe you want to share it. That'd be fantastic. Atari God, where is Aries Swan? Yo, Aries Swan, that man out working, ripping Pokemon packs, doing what that man do. Dean here from WonderFi, which is a huge Canadian corporate type takeover, monopoly in Canada. Maybe not monopoly is right, the terminology here, but again, WonderFi is like a huge company that's starting to buy up a lot of the Canadian crypto exchanges that came out before these massive runs that we've seen in the quote-unquote mainstream adoption. Despite the 25% pullback in Bitcoin peak through, there remain strong ETF inflows. The ETH ETF launch is imminent. TradFi markets continue to set new all-time highs, and markets are pricing in a 70% chance for rate cuts in the US in September. The macro setup remains favorable for digital assets, and I'm happy to see WonderFi accumulate at these levels. Press release: WonderFi launches strategic Bitcoin and Ethereum buying plan to diversify treasury assets. Listen, we got some exchange out here getting some goods. Yo, they be getting the goods. In this week's episode of Remember the Grift, we have a special project for you. Remember Tim Ferriss and Cock Punch. Guys, do you remember this thing? It came out, for whatever reason, was super hyped. 0.3 ETH, $2 million. And I guess nothing has come of it. But Whale.Mocha also highlighting in this that apparently Kevin Rose was co-owner of it. Bun-dun-dun-dun. Yo, Cowboy Name, what's going on, brother? Stablecoins are booming on Solana. USDC has minted 500 million in the past 2 days, including 250 million mint just 6 minutes ago. Yesterday, we highlighted about watch the stablecoins. We're watching them. Thanks for having me, Azuki. This is kind of cool. Austin sharing this. And it just looks like kind of like a little studio with some different... give me 1 second on the call. Okay, triple double banger, we're back. But you can see the bean shoe here, both in red and black. And this is just, I guess, some of the extra skateboards and the Azuki branding, but still, nonetheless, kind of cool to see what these brands look like in a more traditional setting in that regard. 9DC, another brand that's kind of within the Web3 realm, announcing their first exclusive piece for women. The 9DCC tank sold out in white at our store in the pop-up in New York City immediately. Available right now on our website in black. So, okay, that's one clothing line within Web3. And then we have Mntge as well, which I believe they are partnered with Futureverse. You can see some of the kind of like the branding within this. And Mntge just announced this Black Book Rex and Chris Late collaboration, where I don't know if I'm crazy, and sorry, I can't make this image larger, but if you're able to look at this and pause it for a second, these like images, I don't know if they're like, you know, Capricorn, Cancer, the not geology. Wow, I'm forgetting the term. Astrology signs, whatever the hell it is. Or these look like the unknowns from Pokemon. If you remember like the weird shapes of the unknowns, it kind of reminds me of that. So actually, you know, I don't mind them too much, but it's cool to see that we have some different happenings in terms of like Web3 brand clothing. Now, just some random Call of Duty mention here. If anybody watches Call of Duty League, listen, just wanted to show you some love. Hell yeah. Excited to see the major, but Scrap is looking for his first world championship and only his second season. This guy is a crazy player, was a rookie last year, but this year playing for Toronto Ultra. He would become the 5th player in COD history to have finals appearances in his first 2 champs. He would join Karma, Rambo, Simp, and Kenny. There's a little bit of your history lesson for that. Now, I've been going through and finding some, you know, older things regarding Futureverse and just whatnot, and I saw this post back back in 2022 that was highlighting a whole bunch of different scenes. And recently it's been talked about how there's like 50 brands or something launching, right? From Aaron, it was talking about things within the world. And so we have the Great Tree, we have something that's underwater, we have, maybe this is the Shroom Fields, we got the Goblin dunes here, racetracks, we have a science fair, all these different things. And I'm like, okay, like, is this actually alpha hidden in plain sight, or is this just showing some cool different screenshots from the trailer? But if you haven't seen the trailer, highly recommend it. Now, going back, there was a conversation that I had with the founders of Futureverse, Aaron and Shara, and Shara talked a little bit about the music industry, because I was like, yo, what the hell's going on with music? Do they stand to benefit? So let's listen to this and I'll be right back. Just music in general. So I'm curious your thoughts on if you foresee music potentially being one of the biggest benefactor of these virtual experiences.
I think the world's going to benefit from virtual experiences, because the reality is we're already in them. They're a means to connect to consumers. I think the music industry will benefit as much as entertainment, and the music industry has nuance that a lot of people don't understand. And obviously when we launch Gen, which will be very soon, people will understand what side of the table we sit on. As it relates to what Sony came out and did, they should have. People are stealing music to create pieces of technology. It's Napster all over again. And Napster, we saw how that ended and what happened there. And we believe, I think when you think about what's going on with entertainment and music, fundamentally, we believe that the creator, big or small, from Taylor Swift on down to you making art in your bedroom, you create something, you put something out into the world, and you deserve to be compensated, and you deserve to be fairly a part of whatever you go on and sell or create and do. And we believe that that's how we should structure everything that we're a part of. We are not going to be a part of stealing things. We're not going to be a part of doing it the wrong way. We're going to be the people that sit down and look at a problem and say, if we want to innovate here, innovation is not only in technology. Innovation is in communication, it's in strategy, it's in business model, it's in revenue model, it's in participation from people who might have gotten cut out before, not because they necessarily should have been, because it was just easier to cut them out. So I think there's a lot of nuance. And to your point of the virtual concerts, there's a lot of reasons business-wise and economic-wise that we haven't seen the scale at scale. We've seen, obviously, within Fortnite, we've seen Travis Scott do amazing numbers. We've seen a lot of musicians do amazing stuff. We've seen I have a portfolio company, Wave, who has done amazing virtual concerts with Bieber and Calvin Harris and a bunch of amazing people. The scale will come from that when interoperability continues to scale. And that's why a lot of the stuff that we're doing underneath the hood may seem a little bit unsexy or may seem like buzzwords at times, but it's a means for the whole thing to rise so that you can consistently see more ways to engage with the entertainers or the IP that you love, and being able to do that in a way where they can participate in it too. Because the reason that a particular large artist isn't bringing their entire touring market to a virtual concert is because their touring strategy and the business of their live touring is a significant revenue stream for them that they're not going to cannibalize just to test one thing where an audience may not be ready yet. So it kind of goes back to what I say a lot, which sounds philosophical, but timing is everything. And you'll see the way we launch certain things and how we launch them at a particular time is because of our strategy. There's a lot of strategy behind the scenes. And even when we joke about Aaron giving alpha, it's we tell you everything if we could, but also if you knew everything about where you're headed in life, it wouldn't be as exciting anyway. So you want to know, and then you also don't want to know. But the simple answer to your question is music will be transformed just the way movies and TV and everyone will be transformed by simply the evolution of the internet.
Yeah, bang! No, we're not watching that again. But there's your insights from Shara Senderoff. Again, if you guys are wanting to see the full stream, this was done back on May 21st. It's available under the live stream on YouTube. You'll have to scroll a little bit, or I guess if you type in Future Founders Interview, just copy that exactly into your browser. Yo, Shelver's chair stream. All right, massive, holy triple banger news coming out of Ronin Network today, taking Forgotten Runes Wizards Cult game that they built and bringing it over to their network. Welcome at Rooniverse Games. Forgotten Rooniverse is more than an MMORPG, 3 years in development. Now, just as a side note as well, I have interviewed the founders of that. We got videos up, and if you look under the playlist section in YouTube, you can see my direct interviews with them on that. It's a universe-spanning gameplay, community lore, building, NFT collections, a multimedia ecosystem, and merch. Today, we're announcing their migration to Ronin. Here's what's happening. This announcement is the first step towards an exciting summer. The game's closed beta test will take place July 31st to August 2nd. Again, a lot of games launching things end of this month, early next. Pay attention. And the public beta is scheduled to begin in August. Ronin gamers will have the opportunity to explore, battlecraft, and collect in the Forgotten Ruins Rooniverse. There is a frog. A ribbit. Forgotten Rooniverse will be a free-to-play game available on mobile and desktop. It's also a new portal to onboard new players onto Ronin. Members of the Forgotten Rooniverse team have worked on popular games like Elder Scrolls Online, Diablo, Overwatch, World of Warcraft, Far Cry 3, Rainbow Six Siege, Street Fighter, and more. Now, they're bringing these experiences to Ronin alongside the Forgotten Ruins Wizard Cult. There's a lot to explore, and we prepared an overview of some of the few details. Okay, cool. So again, massive news. They had a huge space today. It was like 200 plus people going over all this. Apparently, it's been about a year in the making for going over there, and the team has hinted on it, as we've highlighted yesterday, but very, very cool to see Forgotten Ruins getting some love. Now, for any of you that are out there holding Ronin or thinking, you know, what's going on with Ronin? Maybe we've got to be paying attention. Ronin is currently valued at $639.5 million by the market. If all coins were in circulation, Ronin will be valued at $1.9 billion. The question I ask myself is, will Ronin be worth more than $1.9 billion in 3 to 5 years? Now, listening to the space earlier, there was a lot of conversations about how they are trying to get billions, and specifically using the term, you know, hundreds of millions to billions of gamers, and they really think that that is going to be happening through the Ronin ecosystem. And very interesting, as we saw Pixels Online really take over the past couple of months. Seeing this go over, Axie Infinity still holding up. A lot of questions around, okay, what's going on with IMX? Where are the other gaming competitors? Arbitrum's losing some people. We have Blast picking up certain games. It's getting super competitive out there. So it's going to be exciting. Women and Weapons NFT, kind of highlighting something cool here. If you didn't know, thank you so much to CoinDesk for featuring the philanthropic efforts of our Women and Weapons community at WoW. We firmly believe in doing good in the world, and by donating to the Malala Fund, we hope to make education an opportunity to become a girl's weapon. So if you haven't seen, again, awesome collection. I have interviewed the team at Women and Weapons. If you want to see that, Sarah and Jake were on. Again, you're going to have to scroll way back through the channel, but that's under videos. I was thinking about it. I'm like, the amount of people that are probably going to ever go back and watch the live VODs are probably slim, but damn, is this ever a crazy historic reference that we can go back to see all the things that we have seen. So I'm not going to play all of this, but Beth here did a great video breaking down the Star Atlas DAO release. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, Star Atlas is supposed to be kind of one of the flagship games on Solana. They've had some ups, they've had some downs, and they have a big DAO. And so I guess you listened to the whole 1.5 hours of the conversation, but just thinking of like the DAOs and the way this is talked about, just kind of sit back and, you know, have your own perspective through this. We're only going to listen to about a minute, by the way.
StarAtlas.com website. Currently, proposals and voting will be on the governed website. However, all discussions will be in Discord, and those channels are live too. You have to have the PvP role to have discussions, so make sure that you connect to Matrika to get that role. Currently, they're going to be looking at any proposals that are treasury related, but over time, you can include partnerships, brand related decisions, decisions that affect gameplay design, and local politics. Dom shared the important dates in Discord, and voting for PIPs 1 and 2 actually starts today. PIP number 1 is setting a precedence for how all PIPs should be moving forward, how to draft a PIP, how it's reviewed, submitted, and voted on, the foundation and the actions that are needed to implement a PIP, the on-chain decision-making process, types of PIPs that can be submitted.
Okay, so again, there's a lot more to that if you're wanting to go listen, but like my takeaway from that is like, holy crap, like do I ever not really care? Because I'm not focusing in the Star Atlas arena, but what she's talking about with the DAO and all these decisions, all of these things are creating like foundations, right? Like the Blast Foundation, the list kind of goes on, the ApeCoin Foundation or whatever the hell that it's called. And all these decisions are being made through a DAO. So seeing these happen in other ecosystems, you're like, holy crap, when is this going to start happening in mine? We're going to have to learn all these terms, yada, 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 yada. And it just, you can keep going down this crazy ass rabbit hole. And I feel like blockchain's the place where it allows you to do that. But again, if you're into Solana, Star Atlas, futuristic Star Wars type games, you might very much like Star Atlas. So go check it out if you haven't. Okay, so this was a crazy post, and shout out to MetaBlocks for sharing it with me, but it was talking about Pirate Nation, which is a Web3 game, and they've done some breakdowns on what it would cost versus buying assets outright that are needed versus buying the materials and whatnot to complete them, which is something that certain games will have that. So here's one of the tweets. First, let's break down the marketplace costs. Buying a shipwright from the marketplace currently would cost you $1,779 US. But what if we buy all the resources instead? To build a shipwright, you would need 275,000 P gold, 3,000 cotton, 3,000 wood, and 3,000 iron ore. At current prices, here are the costs for all of them, but it basically breaks down to $1,534. So looking back to the original cost, it would actually technically be like $200 cheaper to simply go out and buy all of this items. Comparing the two, it is definitely cheaper to just buy the resources and build it in game than buy the shipwright outright. TLDR, buying resources is definitely cheaper at $1,500, but you save $245. So I'm just like, damn, this is going to happen to all these different games that have some kind of an ecosystem that's built into that, and the amount of threads we're going to see, the amount of in-depth, the amount of consumption of your life, if you have the time to do it, holy guacamole. Not heavy into Mocha Network by any means, but can anyone tell me why this drawdown to 2.2 ETH from 4 ETH? Let me tell you a little bit something about the NFT space and getting airdrops and then getting the hell out of Dodge on the NFTs. People don't want NFTs. It's 2024, baby. We want the token. Listen, nobody wants an NFT anymore. But we've seen this time and time again. Anytime there is an upfront claim, absolute complete drop-offs, and this includes whenever there's an NFT claim for an asset as well. People assume that, okay, that's the only utility that we're going to get for a while. Let's dump this quick, and maybe we can buy lower if we actually want it, because most NFTs out there don't have any kind of like long-term collector score or anything, right? Maybe some of the ones that you guys are into might, but the vast majority of them do not. So it's like, okay, you got the token. Let's get the hell of it out of here. After some very productive conversations with Reboot GG Foundation, there's another one. This one's coming from G-Funk, and development from the All-Star Squad. Happy to report that POW, Punks, Drip, and Planets will resume GG functionality. So again, anybody that's in the Pixel Vault ecosystem, if you were burning your POW or Punks for the new GG token, there was a little bit of a pause on that, but it seems that that's got corrected. And it mentions in here, it's going to be resumed with the time offline accounted for in the unlock schedule. So there was a little bit of FUD about people thinking, hey, you're not going to account that, but they did, which is awesome to see in the next few days. Also, you can expect the DOT accelerated functionality to be going back live as originally planned within the next few weeks, which is kind of their NFTs. I know I talked about nobody wanting NFTs, but the way that they had this work is that if you wanted to get your token allocation quicker or a little bit more, if I remember, I think it was just quicker, but you could have these NFTs in your wallet or use them as a part of it. And there's a bit more dev lift there. It's a very exciting time for Reboot ecosystem. Stoked for what is to come for both Reboot and Pixel Vault. And I look forward to sharing more with you on that front very soon. See you very soon. Coming into the month, gaming. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy, except for the fact we only got 66th in Gods and Goblins. Son of a gun. All right, I quit. That's it for this edition of XFeed. Thank you so much for coming on through. If you want to give me a like, comment that the video, any of that kind of great stuff, you're an absolute freaking beauty. And who's been here today? 24-hour grind in a cowboy name. Yo, Boomer! Sheesh, coming through with 100 bits. What's going on, brother? Listen, everybody, listen, I was sending messages out saying who's wanting to play League late. Everybody's bailing on me. Unbelievable. We'll see if I can make it. Schiller's LTNFT, Root Fluffle. Who the hell else we got in here? Yo, Atari God, Legend, and Boomer. How dare them? True. Unfortunate. Anyway, that's it for this edition. As per usual, I will be gone forever.